Hey guys, Butch Hartman here. Welcome to Speech Bubble. Youthful co-host Jace Diehl at my side.
And also, did you know we have a special guest?
I'm
right here. I'm right here.
He's right there. Savage, that was really good. You shut Jace down.
Thank you so much.
You want to be the co-host?
I would love to, if that's possible.
I think that's fantastic.
Okay, let's do it.
Jace, run along. Roll the theme music. All right, I've never had this much fun pre-podcast. That was our theme music, and we're now.
It's so good.
Here's the exciting thing, guys. We have okay. Normally, when you're here with me, Jace is here with me. Normally, when Jace is here with me, he's like,
don't talk.
Well, no, you talk.
Oh, okay.
When you're allowed
That's
to,
true.
When
Yeah.
you're allowed to. But you're always like, I'm so excited to be with a Hollywood legend like Butch Hartman, right?
Yeah, every day when I come to the office.
Podcast.
Every
I
podcast.
would probably.
Yeah.
We have now. There's my legendary status. If this was like a video game, I'd be
right.
like maybe level. I mean, I'm like a Z level celebrity. There's
Okay.
I'm like Z, maybe a W level.
Is that good?
No, we're going backwards. We want to go to A list.
Oh, got it. Okay.
A is the best.
I haven't learned the alphabet yet.
We have
so.
with us at least a C level.
Yeah, I was going to say,
Whoa.
maybe a
At
little
least a
less.
C-
Yeah,
Yay.
barely.
Maybe
but
a C minus?
But it's like I said, I don't know how you're going to ask me any questions. I don't think you're going to have any. Should I just go?
You could go. Well, I saw you doing the flowers outside the gardening, and he's like, that guy looks interesting.
Yeah.
Have him come in.
I had to change my shirt. It
He's
was
jolly.
So
I know.
hot.
Hey, we have with
It was
us
so
the great,
hot.
the amazing. I demand I want a canned round of applause for this. We're going to put it in a sound effect.
I love it.
Savage Steve Holland is here
thank
with us.
you.
Savage
Yes.
Steve, thank you very much.
Right.
Savage, we have a bunch of
Applause.
young people who have
I
no
know.
idea who
Look,
you are.
I know.
They know who you are.
Well, I'll tell you a funny story. My agent the other day, I wrote the script. I haven't written a script in a long time, and I was so excited about it. And she read it. She loved it. She said, "Now we have to remind people who you are."
Oh, nice.
I was like, wow, thanks so much.
Oh, that's
great.
We have,
At least
that's
you liked it. That's good.
But you know what, Savage? There was no reminding me of who you were because I already knew.
I know that
because we're good pals.
That's why you opened the door. When I
let
came
you
in.
in.
That was
yeah.
so nice.
And by the way, I do need those bushes trimmed if you
I'm
don't
almost
mind.
done. I'm almost done.
Into an elephant too, if you can do that. Can you do that kind of
I
thing?
don't. Wait a minute.
What'd you say?
Like you know how they have at Disneyland, like the elephant.
topiary.
Topiary. That's it.
He just said do an elephant. I'm like, what are you talking about? Why are you here? What are you do an elephant? He said carve an elephant topiary.
He's like Ed McMahon's super grandson.
I know.
Yeah. It's so amazing.
Ed McMahon, old person
you're right.
reference. Welcome to old people references. Hey, so Savage Steve Holland.
Yes,
I don't even know where to begin. First of all,
I know,
I love
because you're
you
not-
tremendously.
Oh, I love you
Good
back.
pal. I love you very
Well,
much.
does everybody know why we know each other?
Well, I think we
Does
should
anybody
go into that.
care?
I was going to launch it, but
Start
why
from
don't
the
you- Why don't
beginning.
you
Yeah.
launch into it?
Oh, well, I just got this script that was from Nickelodeon. I'd done a movie for them because they had this little weekly movie thing that we were doing, and it was really fun. And then someone came up with this kind of cool idea. I thought it was kind of crazy, but it was to do the Fairly OddParents with Timmy if he grew up, and he was like 21. You're like, well, wait a minute, that's not the dumbest idea I've ever heard.
Right.
But then it got dumber
got
because then we're going to make Drake Bell be Timmy, and then I was like, well, okay. And you know what? It came out pretty darn good. I
was very
was
good.
intrigued, and then I met Butch for lunch, and I remember our friend Mike Samusisi had this little car, and I had to sit on his lap because he just had a crate for a seat or something.
That's right. Yeah, we love Mike. We don't like Mike. Mike was like our Jace of the time.
Yes,
Yeah,
exactly,
Mike was blonde, he was
exactly.
thin.
Where have I
Right.
heard that name? Who
Mike
is Mike?
Samusisi?
Yeah.
Mike
I know I've
is
heard that name
our.
before.
It's just fun to say.
Yes.
It's just fun to say.
Well,
He doesn't exist.
Samusisi.
Yeah.
He's Italian.
Yeah.
But he's the least Italian-looking guy in the world. He's a skinny little blonde
Yeah.
guy, and he kind of.
So me again.
He's
Yeah.
like you.
Yes.
But he's a great guy, and he's a big producer at Nickelodeon.
Yeah,
He's
yeah,
a
he's
massively
he's
successful Hollywood.
doing
star.
really well, and he was a really nice guy. And so
He'll
when
never come on this podcast.
now, you know what? He probably would.
He's way too big, though.
Well, he's not. He has to run around in the shower to get wet. 'Cause
There
he's
you
so
go.
skinny.
So does face action.
Yeah, I know.
Well, yeah.
All because
How do
I'm
you
not
know that, though?
I just want to do an elephant.
That's
again.
the
I don't know
question.
How does the elephant thing work? I'm trying to figure that out. So go ahead, keep
Topiary.
going. You got-
Oh, so anyway, I met Butch at this fabulous restaurant, and I think that's when I was driving my motorcycle, and I had about 8 beers, and then he was like, "I like this guy," and so we got along great.
drove him on the motorcycle.
You had the beers while on the motorcycle? or-
Eventually, on the way out the door, then Butch hopped on. It's a whole another. That's
Got
a
it.
whole.
Okay.
That's for the
Different
next
movie.
We'll get into
podcast.
that.
Whole different movie.
But anyway, we actually worked on the script together, and
We did?
no, you did the
Well,
script.
Scott
but then,
Fellows and I wrote the script.
yes, and Scott's a lovely guy, and
He's
I've
great.
worked with
I thought
Scott
you
a lot.
hated Scott
No,
Fellows.
I love Scott. He's crazy, but I love him. But I've worked with him since Ned's
No, 'cause
Declassified.
I hate Scott.
No.
I'm-
Nobody hates
I'm
Scott.
apathetic
towards
No,
Scott.
we
I
love
don't know.
Scott.
We
Has
love
he been on your show?
Scott has not been on.
Oh
yet.
my God, he's
I'm going to
gotta-
get him on.
Yeah.
I love Scott.
He's adorable. So anyway, we had this connection with Scott, and then we went up to Canada and did the movie. And it was like I was saying, it was so much better than I thought. And it was this great company, Pacific Bay Motion Pictures. They got this animation company to do CG CGI
we had to animate the
fairies.
fairies,
Yeah,
CGI
and it worked out so much better because we didn't know exactly what we were shooting because we had to like put sticks. Remember that there's little pictures of Butch and he's like holding a stick over here
I had to
with
do
a fairy.
the voice of the character. So
Yeah,
Drake,
while
I
you were
remember
doing
that. Yeah.
Drake Bell be talking to the stick, and I'd be going, "Whoa, take me over here!" And that kind of thing.
Yeah, and it worked out. And you look at the dailies, and you're like, these people are out of their minds. But it was really cute, and it came out really good. So we made 2 more.
We made 2 more movies. I know. And the second one,
you were there for the Christmas one.
Yeah,
which
it
was
was
Jace
great.
came up
amazing.
to the set.
I
Yeah,
know.
Vancouver.
Yep, he was like 8 and a half, something. I can't tell.
And now
how old he
9.
was.
So I don't know how
It
time
was
works.
3
but
years ago, so he was 8.
Yes.
That's right.
No,
That's
it
how I
was, he
figured.
was 9. So,
Okay,
he
but he was an
I
adorable
don't know.
guy.
I know.
Yeah. Not anymore though.
You know, you're all grown.
Fortunately.
You look exactly the same, but it's great. But anyway, we did this Christmas one, which I thought was even better than the first one, and it was really cool. And
was
then,
fantastic.
so we were standing out there in the snow, really cold,
On top of a
of a mountain
mountain.
where it's like 30 below zero, doing this movie, and we're like, you know, what'd be smart? Let's do something in Hawaii next time.
Yeah, I think we're
kind of
like,
as a joke.
we're all laughing.
Hawaii.
That'll be fun.
I remember being there and you saying that all the time.
Yeah,
like,
'cause
oh, that's a funny
We're
joke.
idiots.
Yeah.
We're like, why are we doing a Christmas
Yeah.
show in the snow and it's raining when we
had
go
like,
home?
We had like
and
40 kids.
Yeah.
elves in the
That's right.
snow.
Who hated us? And they're like, it's cold. I hate you. And of course, we had them in little elf shoes that were like as thin as like this and stuff, and they're in like 40-degree below
Standing
zero.
in the snow.
Yeah, and we
But
had
they're Canadian kids.
They're fine.
They live in the
Yeah,
snow.
skin,
they eat
yeah.
honeycombs. Anyway, they were adorable kids, but a lot of them didn't survive that, and we felt a little bad. But we got more,
That's all right.
and
That's okay.
and it worked
There's
out.
plenty of them.
There was plenty. So we did come up with this idea that we're like, why are we so dumb? And so we were like, why aren't we in Hawaii doing this? And guess what? We did it. We got there.
We got to go to Hawaii.
It was really cool.
And that movie was called.
It was called a Fairly Odd Summer.
That's right.
Which
We
was
had-
just sort of it should have been called a Fairly Odd Guys Get to Go to Hawaii. But, you know.
And that was one of the most amazing experiences of my life, besides right now.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah.
this is pretty
This
big.
is top 10.
This is big.
Yeah, oh,
But
yeah.
You and I are on a plane going to Hawaii going, we're working right now.
Yeah.
This is work. And we got to the resort to we had to go quote unquote scout the location. And we did. We got off going, okay, this is cool.
Yeah,
We had
okay.
like 3 more days.
And then we got handed per diem. It was just like, it was a dream
Yeah,
come
they
true.
gave us like
It
money
really-
to spend.
Yeah.
Like, here's Hawaii, and here's some money to spend,
Yeah.
and you guys are at work.
Get to
We're
work.
like,
All right. We got on a golf cart and we drove around in a
Looks good to
circle.
me.
No, it was pretty neat. But then we did pay for it later because then
Yes.
we were going back to Hawaii and our plane sat on the tarmac for like, I think 8 or 9 hours
Canada.
in Canada.
Yeah, we
and then
couldn't
we
get
were like,
away.
we're all like this trying to move it, you know, because we want to get to Hawaii really badly. And then, so then after like 8 hours, they put us on another plane. Guess what? 8 more hours. It was the same problem. It was
Really?
the same kind of
Whoa.
plane. Yeah. So we had to stay overnight.
We went for the scout of the Hawaii movie. And then we're all excited because we actually had to go. We finished up in Canada. We had to go to actually shoot in Hawaii. We
Yeah,
had
do you
a
want
week in
to
Hawaii.
pick me?
Yeah, you.
Do you want to explain how we shot the movie, like the mystery of how we did it? Like,
Go right ahead.
Well, but I thought you might want to
You're
do
the
it.
director.
Okay,
You're
I'll
the
just-
guest. I'm here all the
Well,
time.
this is what's amazing. But in Vancouver, it rains all the time. Okay, but for some reason we lucked out and we got total sunny weather. But the trick was, to make this work, we could only do 1 week in Hawaii because it's very expensive to bring everybody over there and stuff. So we shot 3 weeks in Vancouver, which is normally rainy and stormy and horrible and snowing and stuff. So what we did was we shot half of the movie, like we would shoot you guys, in Vancouver, and we shot in this place that had palm trees and
So the
tropical.
behind us looked like it was Hawaii.
It was amazing.
Hawaiian
And
shirt.
then
On like a
if-
soundstage or what?
No. It was actually all outside,
Oh,
and we
outside.
found places, and then we would shoot like if there was somebody talking to like say you guys. Then we went to Hawaii and we shot like over your shoulder to this person.
Oh, wow.
And it was perfect. It looked
Yeah. It was the
It was the
absolutely.
greatest turnaround
It was
of all time.
great.
We shot this way in Vancouver,
yeah.
and over the shoulder in Hawaii.
And it was awesome.
fantastic.
And we had so we didn't have to bring our actors, which was, I felt kind of bad for them because they're like, I'm in a movie going to Hawaii. And we're like, no, you're not. There's a double going to Hawaii.
Double going to
Wait, so
Hawaii.
who was in Hawaii and who wasn't?
Darren Norris was in Hawaii.
Yeah,
I
the
was in
mom.
Hawaii.
Yeah.
The mom
You
was
were-
in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Savage, you were in
I was
Hawaii.
Our families were in Hawaii.
Belle was in Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay.
And Daniela Monet.
Yes. Oh yeah, Danielle. She's
Danielle.
great. Have you ever spoken to her again? Or
I
Never.
think she hates me. So I don't
Yeah,
really,
well,
most
obviously.
Girls do. I don't really talk to many girls anymore.
I
Yeah.
know, but you got to stop standing in their driveway.
I-
That's where it gets
Listen,
awkward.
as far as I know, I was told to stand. That's all I'm saying. When the cops
The
pull up,
voices.
I'm like, the voices talk to me.
Well, I remember you saying that on the Nicktoons podcast at Nickelodeon that Drake did a little performance in Hawaii.
Yeah.
Is that right? Yeah.
And he won a contest.
We're at the hotel.
He's a professional actor, and
Yeah.
he won a singer.
Well, he's a
And-
professional
explain the
musician.
story.
Yeah, I
What
know.
happened?
We're sitting in the lounge hanging out after we shoot, and they're like, "Hey, all you people stay," and the hotel puts on like the little talent
Yeah.
contest for the people that stay at the hotel. You know, like Bill from Milwaukee,
Yeah.
and the Johnsons from Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Yeah.
It's like, come on up and show us your best talent.
Yep.
You get a free trip back to the resort. Everyone's like, "Woo!" And then Drake Bell gets up and plays professional
Yeah.
guitar and wins.
And they're like, wow.
And
And
he,
he pretended he wasn't. See? Oh, you were told not to. Did you
Oh my
believe this?
goodness.
It wasn't me. It was not me.
And he won the contest.
Yeah, and that's not fair. I was
know.
very disappointed in Drake. But anyway, I do like Drake. He's a good guy.
We're trying to get him on the big podcast.
Oh,
here.
he'd be great.
Drake
I'm
Bell.
so curious what he's up to.
I remember
Yeah.
when I was going to Hawaii, I went to the airport and I'm standing in line to get my ticket and stuff, and there's a guy in front of me with a pink coat and a pink like doggy bag with a dog in it, and it was Drake.
Oh,
And
God.
yeah, it was Drake Bell. Didn't he take his dog on the set? Was that at Christmas?
Yeah, wait a minute. Something happened with that story because I think he got to the airport. Oh, I know it.
He took a dog with him. It was a
Yeah.
Chihuahua.
It sounds like he's method acting because he's wearing all pink.
He was wearing
He's
all
got all
pink.
the pink,
Oh,
yeah.
that's right.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
Method
Timmy
acting,
Turner had
yeah.
the pink
Drake
all
is
over
very
him.
Daniel Day-Lewis of Nickelodeon. That's what it is.
Yeah.
stylish.
Well, he did something ridiculous like got to the airport without his driver's license or something to get on a plane, and then he had to the guy had to drive him right back to his house and still make the plane.
And he was late.
He was late, but he made it, so that's good.
Speaking of like getting to Hawaii was hard because we're in Canada. We're about to get on the plane. We're like, this is going to be great. We're going to fly to Hawaii.
Yay!
We're on the first plane for 3 hours. It doesn't work.
Yeah.
They get us off the plane, put us on a second plane, doesn't work. We had to stay again in Canada.
So
that
disappointing.
night. It was Air Canada. That's what it was.
best.
And then we had no time to do anything except work. Like, it stunk.
Then we landed, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, I've got to go work. You want like a day in Hawaii
Yeah,
to hang out.
I thought
right?
we were going to
But
get
no,
that.
we had to go work.
Oh
That's
well,
okay.
that's like a good problem to have.
It
we
really
were
was.
probably
We really had a great time making
Yeah.
3 movies together. We got to know
was
each other
great.
really well. We had
Yeah.
a blast. And I think you and I hit it off right away because the minute I landed, we both hit it off. And you're like, do you think these people are crazy? I'm like, I think these people are crazy. Let's hang out. We started hanging out together all the time.
Well,
It was really
the
fun.
sad part was that I don't know if you remember this, but there was these pilots that were flying with us that were just having the best time with us because they were, they're the guys who have to sit there to fly the planes back and stuff. But then we were like just so happy to be going to Hawaii that they were some of our juice rubbed off on them. I don't that sounded gross, but our happy
no, no.
juice, and so we
We
were
didn't
just
really rub juice on
no,
anybody.
not at all.
That's
We would
what
never
people
do
know.
that.
Okay, good
But-
to
By
know.
the way, kids don't rub juice on people. Just making sure.
They're very influential.
But we just had a plane full of happy people because we were so excited, and then it all went bad.
One of my favorite parts of all 3 movies is the Butch Hartman cameos.
Oh my gosh,
So what
you
was
were
that
great.
like filming
Butch Hartman
those?
cameos?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was great. Butch played a crazy guy. It was really fun to do that.
Which one
kind
was
of-
that? Was
That
the
was a
crazy
Hawaii
guy?
movie.
Yeah, the
That
Hawaii
was-
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
that was in an
Oh, in the
airport.
airport. Yeah, with the glasses.
Well, actually,
Yeah.
it was a Hawaiian airport, but we shot it in Canada.
Yeah.
We went to this little airport that closed like at 5 o'clock in like Ontario or something.
Yeah.
And then we had to dress up like Hawaii, and we all wore Hawaiian stuff.
It worked great.
And I had to wear this crazy outfit with these cowboy boots that hurt my feet and everything.
Yeah.
That was
Super
great.
thick glasses.
And you couldn't
made your eyes
see anything because
They gave me these crazy glasses, and I got to interact with the fantastic David,
Oh, yeah.
David Lewis, who plays Crocker.
The live-action Mr. Crocker.
Yeah,
It was
he
And he
was the
acts
best.
just like him.
Oh my gosh,
Talks
he's
just
so
like him.
good.
It's crazy.
He's
So
century.
good. Yeah, oh
Yeah.
gosh, it was amazing.
Live-action Mr. Crocker. He was so fun.
He was
crazy.
just fabulous, and so like that scene, we just needed. We went to like the crazy place where obviously he saw fairies and everybody thought he was crazy, but turns out there was a tour of people going that were crazy that were going to Hawaii,
Yeah.
and Butch was one of them.
They were crazier than him.
They
What
were
was your
crazier
voice
than him.
did you use? What
I
voice?
just talked like me, but I was like really paranoid.
Yes.
The glasses made my eyes look really
Yeah, which is
so
great.
When I moved my eyes around, like my eyes were
Yeah. You look like the guy in the trailer park guys. Have you ever seen
Yeah,
that?
yeah, the Trailer Park Boys.
Yeah, exactly. It would look great. But what was so sad for you was that you couldn't see out of them, and then we'd be like, okay, now jump on David, and you'd be like,
Where
and
is-
David was here,
I can't
and we're like,
completely
Butch,
miss.
you suck. Try it again. We're running out of daylight, and then
It was 4 in the morning.
Oh, that's right. And we were inside. So
We were inside, so that story.
That story
doesn't
didn't
work.
really
It's
go anywhere,
It's
did
another
it?
one of your lives. It's fine. We get it. So I want to. Can we talk about you for a
yes,
moment? And we had a
please.
great time. We could talk about those movies for a long time.
Oh, we will.
We'll get back.
Yeah.
We'll get back. Now, how did we always talk about here on the big podcast? Because Jace wants to know things.
Yes, I do.
Jason
I'm always
is
trying to learn.
so
Jace wants to
good.
grow up and be famous.
Yeah.
And be influential in
I
Hollywood.
feel like I already told all this to Jason when we were in that airport.
Well,
I don't
so-
have a good-
So do you mind if we don't?
I don't have a good memory,
I'm
So
I'm just
Imagine an audience of Chases that are just
Yes.
listening.
All
How do you
sitting down.
get started to be a director in
Well,
Hollywood?
well,
What do
like
do?
you, Butch, which is very strange. I went to Cal Arts. I went to California Institute of the Arts
you go.
in 1905. I don't know what it was. No, it was in the
Horse
early
and buggy,
80s. And
penny
yes,
farthing, driving
well,
around
you know
like
what?
that?
What is interesting about that was when it was up there in Valencia, there was nothing there but a deli. It was like Cal Arts, a deli, and then Magic Mountain.
I remember that when I was there too. There was
There's
really
open land.
There
There was this open land and
Really?
stuff, and then
Wow.
and it was like 700 of the most insane humans on
Yeah.
earth that
Yes.
so that actually helped me because normally, being from back east, I would have gone to a college where I would be like, yay, cake party, and I'd be wearing togas, and stuff like that. But I went there and it was just all these suicidal people, so I was like, oh, it's so depressing.
You're exactly right.
Yeah, right?
When I was in college,
Really?
the same thing.
Yeah.
I was like, there's all these depressed artists.
Yes.
By the way, if you want to go to Cal Arts, don't worry about
yeah,
that.
no, we don't
Might be
mean anything
different
bad.
now.
I love it, and I wouldn't be whatever I uploaded white guy
what
if I didn't go there. Wait, that would have happened anyway.
I don't know. Maybe the gym to get some push-ups. That's all I'm saying.
I've lost all my upper
couple
body
of
strength.
one of your
I
sleeves is
haven't.
rolled up,
No,
one's not.
I know. I'm anger eating these days. That just happens.
So go ahead. So you were at
So I was at
Cal
Cal
Arts.
Arts, and well, I actually have a really interesting story about that. So I ended up, like I said, because I just couldn't really relate or go nuts because it was it was like a little prison camp up there, and so I made a bunch of short films. And then what I learned is if you buy a keg at the little deli that was down there and you bring it to the theater, everybody comes to your movie. So it looked like
nice.
everybody was loving my movie.
Yeah.
Guys, get a keg in here, right?
You got to
Yeah,
get a little.
everybody
It's called
have a
a pony
great time.
keg. It's about this big, and you could do 25 people. So everybody would come to my movies, which made me super popular. But it was really the keg,
Of course, right.
But who
But
cares?
they stayed for the short film.
Yeah, I mean, they weren't going to get we're going to get the keg unless they
So
stayed.
you're saying drunk people
Something
are
like
more
that.
reasonable or more apt to listen to you?
People,
Kids
if you reward
know that,
people,
yeah.
if you
It's
reward
reward.
people, yes, it's reward for
Rewarding
watching
them,
something that
writing
might not
this
be as good as you think, And so I'm hoping if they drink beer, they'll think it's great, and it worked. And so
Nice.
But here's the truth: I worked at one of my jobs to pay for school was I worked at the reception desk, and I would answer the phone. And I learned over my couple years of doing that people would call up and they were looking for cheap labor, and they would say like, we need someone to do an art project down here in Los Angeles. Do you know anybody? And I'd always have to send it to the art department head guy, and then he would pick somebody out, and they'd kind of get a job doing art or something like that, or a little animation job. So being smart, eventually I figured it out, and I would just go to the phone and go, I knew just the guy, and I would go, Savage Steve Holland, and it was me. And so I would answer it, and I would go down and I would get these jobs, and it kind of gave me a resume when I was done with school. Not only did I have my stupid animated movies and my little live action movies, but I had some commercials and stuff like that because I stole these jobs. So one day I'm there, and
Why? Because everyone else was drunk.
yes, I'm like, have some more.
Have some more beer.
Yes.
I'm the sober one. Right.
So this is the strangest story, but then on the last day of school, graduation, it was my last day of working at this little reception area, and the head of the school, Bob Fitzpatrick, who was the president of the school, came out and said, hey, we're having this thing with these trustees, the guys who give money to the school. We're having a lunch, final graduation lunch. And the guy from the film department had to leave or something like that. Do you want to come be that guy? Because I had a little polo shirt on. I looked like a human, I was kind of good. And I wasn't suicidal that much then. And so I went, we'll get to that. But then, so I went to this thing, and there was all these, like, the dance department. They're like, I learned dance, and I now dance like a fluttering butterfly, whatever. And they would go, art, I paint with the wind, and then they got to me, and I said, well, I would steal jobs at this, reception area, and I have this resume now, and I think I'm going to do pretty good out there. And so at the end of this thing, everybody gave me their card, and it was like all these like Hollywood inside people and
They
stuff.
were impressed with you.
They were impressed by my sleaziness, and then that I'd gotten away with stuff. So it was like I like fit right in, and that's one of the things about college that always kind of bothered me was that you don't really learn about the real part of the business.
No, you
I
don't.
mean, you learn about art and stuff like
Yes.
that, and you learn about making stuff, but there's this 99% of like really dealing with
It's
the
selling.
Hollywood
It's
world,
selling it and getting it out. Exactly.
It's so hard, and they should have a class like that that should be taught by a guy named Butch, rhymes with Martman.
Nah, maybe, I don't know. Well, we'll see. I need a keg. Get a keg.
Give it to all the class.
Hey guys, I'm Butch Hartman. Here's the keg.
I love Butch. He's my best professor.
Everyone here is completely smashed right now. So
I know, they're so happy.
So anyway, so you get now you've lied your way into Hollywood.
Yes.
Like
Good.
everybody else.
That would be-
Nicely done. What was the first gig you had? Like we could say. Now, by the way, I got to go back to your name. Where did the name Savage come from?
Oh, it's start even further back.
Oh God, it's so stupid. I just was a little kid, like 8 years old, and I was playing soccer.
Because your real name is Mortimer.
No,
right?
it's not. Stop it.
No,
Stop starting. No, it's Steven, which is really horrifying. Because I'm at the airport.
Why is that
They're like,
horrifying?
Stefan? I'm like, no, come
it.
on. It's
My name
Steven.
is Butch. You don't get to say that.
Yeah.
That's the worst name of all time.
No, I love your name.
Oh,
but so anyway, it's basically what happened was I was playing soccer when I was like 8, and I kicked a kid, and I was a total wimp, and I started crying because I kicked him, and he knocked his tooth out because he had a loose tooth, and it fell out, and I thought I kicked his tooth out.
Well, you
So I
did him a
started
favor.
crying.
He gets money from the
I
tooth
think I
fairy
helped
now.
him. I
Yeah.
mean, now looking back, I'm sure I helped him. The thing was that I started crying because I was like, I'm going to get in trouble for kicking a kid, and then everybody around me was like, what a wuss you are. And so they called me Savage Steve Holland.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Got
But
it,
then
got it.
by the time I got to high school, no one knew that it was like a wuss story, so it sounded kind of cool. So
Yeah,
I hung
yeah,
on
that's
to it.
a
I hung on
threatening
to
guy.
it. Why
Yeah.
not?
And you're
right?
big and kind of hairy and
Yeah.
kind of threatening.
Ooh, and sweaty.
I know, so
Little
jumping
chafed.
ahead, you've lied
Oh,
right now.
yes, well,
you've
by the
gotten
way,
people drunk.
yeah.
You get a job.
Yes, and my
out of
first
school.
job, strangely enough, was I worked for Michael Eisner. I was an assistant for Michael Eisner at Paramount, which was a really cool thing. And I had my little preppy outfit, and I would go there. And then he finally got sick of me after about a week or two. And then he said he was starting this show called Entertainment Tonight. And so he was like,
really?
yeah, and he was like, and you do art, so why don't you go to that and just get out of my office because you're not doing anything except sitting there like, I was really like this, hi, Michael's office. And so,
But you
hello?
had such
Yeah.
experience answering phones.
I did,
Yeah,
so
they
that's
did.
what he thought. So anyway, they were really nice to do that for me. But anyway, so they sent me to Entertainment Tonight, and then I said, I can do art, and they're like, well, you're not in the union, so what do we do? And then they couldn't send me back to Michael Eisner because he was the head of Paramount. So they were like, we got to figure out something. So they gave me this really stupid little, 10 panel cartoon that are in the first 3 months of Entertainment Tonight, like once a week on a Saturday. I think it was like 7 days a week was Entertainment Tonight. And
Yeah, it
then
was.
they gave me Saturday night, they'd give me a little 20-second thing where I would do a cartoon. And they were so horrible. I mean, they were just god-awful. They were on cells, and they looked pretty good.
Yep.
But they'd be like, Granny Awards, or Grammy Awards. No, we're here for the Granny Award. And it'd be like old people, and it's like, and the guys would always look at it and just want to cry. They're like, we really have to put this crap on TV. And I'm like, Michael Eisner sent me. Well,
So
like, all right.
did you animate something? Or you
No,
just drew
there was
it?
no animation whatsoever.
drew it.
It was just like a 5-panel
Okay, got it,
cartoon
got it.
thing,
Oh.
and I'd always come up with it about an hour before it was due, because I just put it off and stuff, and then I'd come up with some horrible idea, and then I would always go there with wet cell paint, and stuff, and
course,
put
right.
it under the camera to be smeary
Because
and
you're,
stuff.
I don't know if anybody knows, that Savage is not only a director, an artist as well.
Yeah,
Like
sort of.
cartoonist,
We
absolutely.
could say that, yeah.
Yeah.
So anyway, that happened, and so from that, I got this show called Press Your Luck, which was an animated. It was an animated character in a game show.
I remember Press Your
The
Luck.
Whammy. It was called The Whammy.
I remember The Whammy. You did The Whammy?
Yeah, I did The Whammy.
I
Butch.
remember
That
I
was
didn't
me.
know
Yeah.
that.
Yes, but you're
From
learning.
now,
You're
we're
learning.
gonna fight
If
crime,
you'd only
and
ask
your name
about.
is gonna be The Whammy. I'm just saying. I'm Butch Hartman, and you're The Whammy. That's
If
it.
you ever wanted to ask me something about me next time we go out, you might have known that.
Ooh.
I'm just saying. Well, what?
Oh,
No.
the pain. The
A
whammy.
punch right in
Got
there.
hit with the whammy.
There you go.
Boom. All right, so go ahead.
Oh, I kid you.
that's very cool.
But anyway, so anyway, I did the whammy for this
rolling
silly
up
thing.
his other sleeve,
And
you see
yeah,
that.
no, because,
Oh, nice.
because
Now
I
it's
got a scar
even
from
there.
a rose bush, and it looks like I'm a crack addict.
Was that out there when you were
no, it
making
wasn't
the
when I was,
topiary?
It wasn't when I was making the
The
elephant
elephant
topiary.
topiary?
No, that
The
was.
elephant
That's how we
topiary.
got her,
No,
yeah.
Yes,
That
go
was-
do an elephant. No one knows what God's name that means.
I only
That's my
got-
catchphrase. Do an elephant.
I only got the trunk done, and I'm a snake.
All
I
right,
don't know.
so you go to do the whammy. That's cool.
Yeah.
This was 1981.
Oh God, I don't
82?
know. I'd say 82-ish. Yeah, 82-ish.
You're basically working as an animator at this time.
Yeah, I was. And what was really funny about that was
living in a car, living in an apartment.
ish.
yeah.
Yeah, I had a
Okay.
little
Between the
tiny
two?
$300 a month. Yeah, $300 a month apartment, and that's all I had to make. So, and that's how I made like $100 every time I did a whammy or something like that.
Got it.
And so that was kind of cool. And then wait, so what? So then after that, oh, you know what happened? I was writing Better Off Dead.
Yep.
And then one of my stupid little cake party movies played at a film festival, and it was called My 11-Year-Old Birthday Party. And it's a true story that when I was 11, nobody came to my birthday. Not one person showed up except for a drunk clown who tried to pick up my mom. And yeah,
my gosh.
yeah.
Stop
It all
No,
goes
it's
back
true.
to the
It's true.
alcohol.
Everybody
And
freeze.
and then
Everybody freeze.
and then my sister would ring the doorbell. So I'd be like, she was a couple years ago, and I'd be like, "They're here, Mom!"
Oh my gosh.
And there was nobody there and stuff. So it was like the saddest story. And I made this little sad sad movie about it.
I differ with you, sir. I think it's the funniest story I've ever.
I know, but that's
fact
where
is,
As you know,
that's the worst
as
part.
you know,
Yeah.
your pain amuses me tremendously. You
No,
know,
I realize
I've
that.
told you.
No,
this. But oh my God, what was that? Was the clown's name like Drunky? The
God,
clown?
I don't even remember. But it was the original, like, Drunky. You know, there's been a lot more drunky clowns in movies since then. But that really did happen. And I made this sort of sad, dark, you know, CalArtsian movie about it.
Yeah.
So it opened this film festival, which was called FilmX, which is the only. It's so funny. We live in the world of film, but there's no film festivals really in Los Angeles.
that's
There's
really
nothing.
true.
It's just
There's
so funny. You
not.
have to go to like Toronto or something, or Texas
Toronto
or something.
is also in Canada.
That's
Talk-
I
Hey,
yes.
We're bringing it back to Canada.
Right, yeah,
Where
but
where the kids didn't make it through the snow.
That's
unfortunate.
remember.
I know.
With
Remember
the
that?
shoes.
I missed them. I missed them.
them.
So wait. So what was my whole point about it? Anybody remember what I was saying?
One of your
Death,
films show-
alcohol, suicide.
alcohol,
What were we
one
talking
of
about?
Pumping keg.
Yes, we were on a
Butch
plane with
didn't-
pilots. What happened? No, so your film shows at FilmX.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
birthday.
So there was this
Drunk
movie.
clown.
There was this movie called Eating Raoul.
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay. And it opened the film festival. So they had my movie was so sad and weird that they had me open. That was a short for it.
Right.
So then I saw it and everybody was really laughing and I'm like, oh, what's so damn funny? You know. And then so I laughed. I thought, well, they didn't get it. So I went home, and I remember I had just broken up with a girlfriend. I was just sad, so sad. I think I lived in Hollywood, and I drove my bike to the beach.
Bike?
Yeah, I'm like, I'll show them. It's not funny. And so
Is your
then,
keg strapped in the front of the bike? Me and my keg?
no, if I had
and
a
the
keg-
whammy cartoon.
Oh, no.
see, it all comes
The
full
wet
circle.
paint falling on the ground, leaving a trail behind.
Yeah, and I'm just like,
And we were doing the film. You drive by the drunk clown and sitting on the curb.
with my mom. I knew it. So anyway, so then I went to the beach for the day, all sad, feeling sorry for myself because nobody got my movie. And then so then I got back and I'm like the loneliest person. Like I'm the guy that would come home. Remember answering machines? And
Yes,
if
I
it blinked,
know,
you'd be
yeah.
like, oh, this is so
Someone
great.
called me.
Yes, oh my
Yes.
God, wait. And it'd be like one, it'd be the wrong number usually, or someone I hate. And then there was like something like 47 messages, and I'm like, oh, somebody screwed up. But anyway, I started listening. And it was all these like really cool people that were from Hollywood, you know, that were like, we loved your movie, you're so funny. And I'm still like, yeah, I guess I am. But it wasn't supposed to be, but whatever. And so, but one of them was Henry Winkler. The Fonz.
Wow.
Yeah.
Winkler.
Yeah. So anyway.
Okay, you have never told me
I
this story.
I probably have.
This is like the disaster artist. It's exactly like the disaster artist.
Oh, I love that movie. That was
Yeah,
good.
That's great, yeah.
That was a good movie.
Yeah,
I did
that was
like
funny.
it. So go ahead.
Oh,
So
so
Henry
it's Henry.
Winkler.
Well,
Yeah.
so he's one of like a bunch of people.
Honestly, I don't think you've told me this story.
Really?
I've forgotten
Okay.
a lot of things you've told me.
Yeah.
Great
but
story.
I've not forgotten this.
Okay, so it's Henry Winkler. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I mean, he's like the greatest guy, and I heard he's the nice guy in Hollywood. So
Hey.
yeah, that's what he was like. I love your movie, and it's like the Fonz voice saying how much he loved my movie. So I go to meet him at Paramount. He has this little office there, and he says, "Do you have any other sad stories like that that are funny?" And I'm like, "Well, I guess, but they're not that funny." And I told him Better Off Dead, which is this story about this girlfriend that dumped me for the captain of the ski team.
By the way, in my opinion, one of the funniest movies I've ever seen in my life.
Very
And I
kind
saw
of you.
it
So you
before
remember
moved.
that I made that?
I do remember
That's
that.
perfect.
I'm
Butch.
trying to forget who you are at the moment, but it'll come back to me. Jace will tell me. But
Topiary
Topiary.
guy.
Elephant Topiary, yes. Always comes back to that.
Drunk clown Topiary guy. That's all I know.
Yes,
That's
yes,
all
yes,
I
yes.
know.
That's it.
So Henry Winkler. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
okay. So I go to
crazy.
meet him, and he asked me that, and I said, "Well, I did. I actually had done an outline of this other sad story, and that a guy from CalArts told me I should write into a movie someday." So I was always working on it and stuff, and I showed him the outline. He said, "Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you an office here in his Xerox room." And he put a little desk there, and I was like, "Meep, meep, boop, bop, I'm at Paramount. Yay!"
Intern people, don't
Yeah.
get upset about the office next
Yeah, and the people are going, you know,
Making copies. Making copies.
and it was really sweet of him to do that. And so then eventually I wrote the thing, and then I gave it to him, and he actually then took me to screenings of like Ron Howard was making
Splash?
no
Night Shift.
Night Shift, and he
Another
took.
great movie.
Oh, it was so funny, and it
Michael
was great.
Keaton, love it.
And he was showing me how like movies are being made, and
Henry
like,
Winkler's
for him.
in Night Shift.
Yes, he is. He's wonderful in it. And so I went to like a rough cut of it, and I just couldn't believe how lucky I was to see stuff like that. It was a miracle. It was so cool.
Very cool.
And it actually inspired some jokes in my script and stuff. So I was really proud of that. And so I gave him the script, and he was like, "I don't think this is really for me, but I have an actor for you that you might like." And it was Cusack that had just done The Sure Thing with
And I love The Sure
Henry.
Thing.
Yeah, it's a great movie. And Cusack was so cool when I met him. I mean, he was just such a good guy. And then I just sort of said, "Well, now I have my lead and stuff." So kind of went out and pitched it for a while, and some people, believe it or not, didn't want John because he would just played like a nerd in 16 Candles.
That's true.
So what Henry did for me was when this company named CBS Theatrical Films was about to make it, and that's a whole other story. They screened The Sure Thing for the CBS executives to show that John could be a leading man and stuff, and it was like, yes, I'm psyched. But that was that started it, and it was like I was going everywhere for 2 years pitching this movie to everybody that would take a meeting with me, and I remember I had like I kind of reached the end, and it was like realizing this dream was never going to happen. I was super sad again, and got my keg out, my bike, the clown, my mom, the whole thing. It all came rushing back, and then this guy called up and he was like, had this really big like New York accent. And he's like, I want to talk to you about your movie. And so we went to this restaurant on Moose on Frank's.
He was Jabba the Hutt, basically?
He sounded just like that. He did. And you could tell he had a cigar. Yeah, exactly. And I'm like, oh, sorry. Who shot first?
Oh, man, don't talk Star Wars here. I hate Star Wars.
Oh, no. Okay.
You like that one?
I like some Star Wars.
Okay, keep going.
Oh, yeah.
The older one.
Yeah. Oh, the new. Oh, sad. But we shouldn't pick on anybody.
I like them, but continue.
Yeah. So anyway, I met this guy. His name was Michael Jaffe, and we went to Moose on Frank's, which is this restaurant in Hollywood. And he said he had this teen comedy that was, if I could rewrite it and maybe I'd have a chance of directing it because he loved my script for Better Off Dead. But I had storyboarded the whole Better Off Dead, like the whole movie, like everything was like I had a big stack of stuff. Wow. And I was like, dude, look at I know you liked my script, so why are you trying to get me to write this other one that was like a TNA kind of like
What does TNA mean? Jace
I can't say it. I can't say it. It's
does it mean
Tootie and.
Tootie and Archie.
Archie.
Yeah, Tootie and Archie. So make sure when you go home and you see your mom say, I love TNA.
Will do.
Tootie and Archie.
Yeah, they're the best. Exactly my favorite character.
Yeah.
So anyway,
soap in my mouth. Exactly.
Yeah, so I talked my way into saying to him, like, here's all the boards, so if, like, you'll know what I'm going to shoot and stuff, and if you like the script, why don't we make that one instead? So he went home with it, and then he called me the next day and said, I'm thinking about taking your script to the boss. And he had a cigar. It was just like right out of a movie. It was like so weird, and I just didn't believe it was really going to happen. And sure as heck, then he said, can you do it for this really low budget? And I had Cusack and stuff, and so we just got to make it, and it was a dream come true. I'll never forget driving up and seeing all the trucks and stuff, and there was people there, and they were there to help, and it was like it was amazing.
It's amazing, and I remember seeing that movie. I was living in LA at the time, and I saw the movie like, who's Savage Steve?
I know, what a dumb.
What kind of a name is that? And but
it says Butch Hartman.
I know. Yeah. I have no room to talk about. Who's this Mitt Romney guy? Mitt Romney? What name is that? No, but just really, the movie was so funny, and there's so many pretty notable people in that movie. Well, Cusack's in it.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, my favorite's Curtis Armstrong. He's in everything.
He plays Booger, the guy who taught. He was in.
That's
good.
Risky Business. Yeah, I saw him. I saw him in Risky Business, and I'm like, this guy stole the movie, and it's like it's a Tom Cruise movie that I just thought he was the best part of the movie.
He was very funny.
Yeah.
He's been in all your movies since.
Yeah, because he was actually my first get. Like as far as somebody that I went out with a cast director said, I got it for this one character of Charles Marr. I have to have Curtis Armstrong. It's like that. There's no negotiation for anybody. I don't want to see anybody. Find him. And then I didn't hear forever, but he was up doing Clan of the Cave Bear, up in like Canada again.
He was in,
it's Canada.
There's a Canada
it's
theme
weird.
here that's happening.
Full
it's
circle.
Really,
yeah.
What was it called?
Clan of the Cave Bear.
Clan of the Cave Bear, not the
Care
Care Bear. Yes, he was.
Right.
And apparently they had to take like a helicopter for like a 2-hour flight to get where they were shooting or something like that.
To get this guy?
No.
For Better Off Dead?
No. Well, actually, no. But in a way, that's actually true because they sent the message to him that this guy wants you in his movie, and he's like, I guess they were in like some howling wind, snowstorm. He's like, Savage, what? He wants what? And so I offered in the movie.
That's how I got Jace, by the way.
Yeah, no, you're very lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky.
I've been waiting there for like 10 years, and he finally came. It worked out.
Drunk clown,
wind, snow. Yeah. But you got him. He's right here.
Well, my dad's a clown and my mom is drunk, so it's a whole different thing. It was a whole kind of the same thing.
Oh God.
We're all kidding around. Go ahead. So.
Oh no, I think that's it. So they got word to Curtis, and he said yes, and I was like, wow, this is really going to happen. And
Dan Schneider.
Dan Schneider plays Ricky Smith,
who made all these Nickelodeon gigantic hit shows.
Yeah, he's like the king of Nickelodeon.
Yeah, exactly. And
then, Well,
Was?
yeah, Butch Hartman, the king of Nickelodeon.
No. Butch is.
Don't you know the rules?
Yeah,
I know, but I think it's fair to say that Butch is the king of the animated world. That's like saying he's Walt Disney of the animation.
There you go.
I don't think of Walt Disney when I think of like Mary Poppins as much as I think of like Bambi.
Even though it is I understand what you mean.
Okay. How'd I do? Did I get out of that?
That was pretty good. Pretty close. Hey, that ends our talk with Savage Steve Holland. We're getting in the cake out with the clown. What you mean? I'm dying to think. I gotta think of a clown name now. We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
So you do Better Off Dead.
Yeah.
Huge hits.
Well, no, huge fail. And then what was smart was that the producer said, you know, when your movie comes out, it could fail. And I'm like, stop it. That's not going to happen. And so he said, you know, what you should do is write another movie so we can sell it while we're waiting to, to see how this does and stuff. And I was like, that's ridiculous. So then I went home and I got by the and I wrote this other stupid movie called One Crazy Summer. Right. And then of course Better Off Dead came out. It failed. And then Warner Brothers, who distributed Better Off Dead, had One Crazy Summer, and they were like, we're not going to do anything for this movie, so it didn't do so well. So then
I remember when that came out. I didn't see that one in the theater.
That's okay. Nobody did.
I went to the video store.
Yeah, well, the video store.
Which was how the old people.
Yeah, old people had
Blockbuster.
Right. And what I did learn that I when I failed miserably was, I was again sad and walking around and clown my mom and all that stuff.
But you had money and a better bike. You went to the beach. A little bit of money.
Ish. I mean, I had a motorcycle.
Okay.
This one had 2 wheels instead of one.
That's right.
Yes.
Oh gosh. So anyway, then Blockbuster happened, and then I would go to Blockbuster and see, because I'm like, well, maybe my movie's in here, and I'd look around for it and stuff. And sometimes I'd see it, And one time I took it out, and the guy said, "Oh, it's so funny that you found one because people steal these movies. They steal Better Off Dead. Like they don't return it. They keep it." And I thought that was a pretty good sign.
Yeah.
And so then what happened was that this gets really weird. But then Fox started a TV network. Mm-hmm. And all the executives were down at late 80s, and they were at Atlanta or somewhere having a conference about this new network that we're starting. And what was playing on HBO? Better Off Dead, all day long. So they're like, who's that crazy galoot that made that thing? And so they called me, and then I got to make a show called Beans Baxter it was like one of the first 7 shows on the Fox network. Failed, everything failed, but I got to do it, so that was good.
That's amazing.
Okay.
That's crazy how it happened.
I love my story.
Baxter is the name for the clown now.
No,
you can't do that.
Perfect.
You cannot. No.
What was that show about? What was Beans Baxter
It was
about?
like, I just pitched it. It's like they were the new young network, and I was like, it's a teen James Bond.
Cool.
Right?
I mean, do it.
I love that.
Love it.
Starring Jace Diehl.
Yeah, you could have, but you would have been great.
I can remake it.
We'll remake it. We'll
it's
change
not a bad idea.
Yeah, no, keep the name.
Is Jace going to be in everything you do?
I have this deal with his parents. I can watch him during the day. So
I didn't know about this.
I'm sorry. We'll
talk about it.
Oh, okay.
We weren't supposed to bring it up.
All right.
Adults are talking.
It's like the topiary thing. We're really supposed to talk about it.
It's a thing. I've seen them before. They exist, people. Okay, continue.
There's so many things you've done. I just want to go down the list because you've done. Now we encountered each other. We already did the Fairly OddParents story, but we encountered each other at Nickelodeon because you've done a ton of Nickelodeon movies.
Yeah.
You did Shredder Man. You did the Big Time movie, Big Time Rush the show.
Yeah, the Rufus movies and stuff like that.
Oh, yeah.
But before that, I had done like all this. We were making fun of Scott Fellows because that's what we do. Yeah, but Scott Fellows is actually really talented and does a lot of things that I try to take credit for.
Exactly.
And
by the way, I
Ned's.
know Scott Fellows' career. You know that.
Yeah, I know that. No,
it's
it's awesome, and he's a really prolific guy. I was going to say pain in the butt, but I mean, I only mean that because he's very opinionated about what he wants to see and stuff. But anyway, I did like 4 years of Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide with him, and then we went off to do Big Time Rush and stuff like that. And so it was good because I was already there, and that was really good when they started this movie company because then Margie, who was running the company, had heard my name, and she said, "Yeah, I think we're working with this guy," and it was me. And so I did the first one, which was Shredder Man, which was okay.
I loved that movie.
You did?
I saw it so many
you're
times.
so sweet. That's
really.
awesome. I'm so happy to hear that.
Yeah.
And so then they went off to some other loser. No, I'm just kidding. They went off to do some other movies while I went back to do Big Time Rush, and then Margie came to me with your script, and I thought it's so zany. It's one of those things. It's so zany. It might just work. You know
what?
That
took forever to get off the ground.
That's what I'm hearing.
Because we had certain people involved that were just like always there, and people find this out. You know this too. I talk about this all the time. Sometimes you'll have a great idea, and then you give it to producers and people.
Yeah, and it goes away.
Some of them mean well. Some do. Others don't mean
Yeah.
wrong. And a lot of them don't know what they're doing, but they're pretending they know what they're doing. So they'll like go, "Why don't you try this in the movie?" And you throw that in, and it just puts a monkey wrench in everything.
Yes,
But you're
change
being
everything else.
dutiful, and you're trying. I didn't say beautiful. I said dutiful. But he is kind of beautiful.
Yeah.
But you're trying to be dutiful and fit everything into the story.
Yeah.
And it just becomes impossible.
Yeah, because it unravels everything you've
Oh
done
my
and
gosh.
stuff.
And then about a year later, they're like,
Maybe
tried?
not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's the story you originally pitched them.
Exactly.
And they think it's their idea.
Yeah,
Like, that's what I
that
pitched
happens all the time, actually.
All the time, all the time.
And you want to be polite and you want to be like team player, but it screws you up sometimes.
I know.
That's why I think some real jerks make it in Hollywood.
I
They're
know
just like,
they
no,
do.
we're not doing that. And you and I would never do that.
We would never do that.
I'm like a puddle. I'm like, I'll do anything. I think I wet myself.
Exactly. What are you working on right now?
Well, now I'm doing a show for Netflix, which is again one of those long battles that's been going on. I just when I lived in Malibu, before my kids took all my money.
There's only 9 of them. I mean, come on. Actually, there's 4 kids.
There's 4. They're adorable.
By the way, but what are your kids' names? You have unique names for your children.
Well, I have Cajun.
He's a
He
boy
was
or a girl?
He's a boy.
Named
He's-
Cajun?
Yes, named Cajun.
Now, what's the next one's name?
That would be Zuzu. She's a girl. It's from A Wonderful Life.
Yeah, I know
Remember?
that.
Jimmy
Yeah,
Stewart.
Zuzu's Bells,
right.
Zuzu's Bells.
Exactly.
There you go.
And
I remember something.
then Ottilie, because she was supposed to be a boy, and we thought Otto's kind of a cute little OTTO. I'll remember that even if I have the keg. Otto. I got it. And so we
My
put
son's
it. So anyway, it's my daughter's name now, Ottilie. So sometimes I'm like Otto, and I do it backwards. It's all wrong. But anyway, Otto Lee, and then Clementine, just because it's adorable.
Clementine's a great
Yeah.
name.
Yeah.
By the way, Jace, that's your new middle name.
Yep. So you are
Jace
Clementine.
Good. No, okay.
So
No, they're all
keep
typical
going.
names.
So,
Oh, so
Now you're working
so
at the
my
Netflix
kids
thing.
were at Malibu High, and they were doing this thing called junior lifeguards. Did your kids ever do that?
no,
Did
they
you
were
ever-
never. My kids
I never learned to swim, so.
Oh, perfect.
Yeah.
Let's
They
take
were
him out
clo-
for popping for apples.
There we go.
He's a witch.
No, but we didn't go to school close enough to the beach. We're not that cool. We're
Oh
not that
gosh,
cool. Yeah, go ahead.
poor people.
I'm sorry.
So anyway,
I do drunk clown things on the side to make money. Yeah, so good.
So while I was
pick up your
rich
mom.
and living at the beach, not anywhere near where you live,
Yes.
and my kids were at Malibu High, and so then they did this thing, and so I was looking at it, and I'm like, this is kind of like because we're in the kids' world, and I'm like, this is so amazing because there's so many kids doing this, and they're getting like a little badge for it basically, but they're
Lifeguard,
like
junior lifeguard.
and they're swimming their heads off, and they're like going crazy and running on the beach and little outfits on, and it was hilarious looking, but it said it's kind of Baywatch for kids, so I'm like,
Bam!
months went by, and I'm like, Baywatch, it has to happen. Someone's going to make this. It's just going to be a show. And then years went by. Years, Butch.
Years.
And then finally I said, you know what? I'm
Decades.
going to take it out with our friend Scott McAvoy.
There you go.
Who was the guy who produced the movies up in Canada with his partner Amy.
Yeah.
And I said, Scott, and he lives in Malibu. And I'm like, you've seen that, right? With these kids running on the beach and you can't park because they're everywhere. Yep. And then he's like, yeah, it's great. So we went out and pitched it. And oh God, we sold it to Universal, and then Universal went as a kids show, but then they went and bought stuff from Margie at DreamWorks, so they couldn't make live action things anymore. So it was one of those things again, like we were saying, like we gave it to them, and then they took a year to like develop, do whatever they're doing, and then it just kind of, then they're like, we're only doing animation.
By the way, thanks for sharing it with me, but it's cool. Keep going.
Yeah, okay.
going.
Oh, that's right. I should have asked you to do
Don't
it.
worry, it's all right. I'm not hurt.
Next time.
I'll write something with James.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but
yeah,
again,
we can
Scott
do
McAvoy lived at the beach.
You got to go down there and work
Yep.
with Scott McAvoy. I get it.
Have you been to the beach before?
I don't know what that is. My name almost spells beach. It's
That's
Butch.
true.
That's
Yeah.
true,
And also
actually,
spell
yeah.
something else, but we'll
No,
keep
we're
going.
not
Beautiful.
going there.
Malibu
Beach
Butch.
Hartman.
I do need a title. Malibu Butch.
There we go. See
I like
what I'm-
it.
see what I'm
Copyright it
saying?
before we can. Copyright it before we can.
So Universal ruins
Yeah,
it.
yes,
They
they were. No,
destroyed
they
it.
didn't. They were nice, but they gave it back, which was good. But that took another 6 months. So anyway, we went to Netflix and pitched it, and they bid on it. And the thing was, but they don't develop stuff; they buy stuff at Netflix.
Meaning you have to
meaning that
already
I'd have
have
to
it done?
make it. I'd have to make it. And so Scott's company could have done that. So we got in there, and he got the financing. Scott McAvoy got the financing for it. And then they suddenly said, "Well, now that you've got the financing, we want to make it with our own money." And so it went through a
Netflix
whole
said that?
yeah. So it went through a whole other process. Anyway, we finished it 2 weeks ago, and
Wow.
we shot it in
That's
Malibu.
awesome. How many episodes?
Well, it's going to be 8 episodes, but we shot a feature. It's really weird. It's not like a pilot. We did a feature.
Like a 90-minute feature? Or an hour?
It's about 80 minutes, but
cool.
it's a feature. And then they bought 8 episodes to start making it into a series.
Very cool.
So it's like a
That's how
Baywatch
it's
for
done.
kids. It's really cool, and it's all shot in Malibu. And
I will come back on as the crazy guy if you want me
I
to.
do want that
Yes,
character.
yes,
That
yes,
character
yes.
has to come back.
I'll do push-ups.
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
look like a bitch. I promise you. I'll
You do
look
have good upper body
Oh,
strength.
I appreciate it. I appreciate it.
You're great. I'll call you.
You know what's kind of cool? It's right by your house.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can work
yeah,
that far away.
yeah.
You
But
just
you know,
shoot
I
it
do
here,
have a
go.
gate, and you'd have to hit the
Oh,
button. You'd have to know the
okay.
code, and I don't think.
I don't remember numbers anymore. But are you going to shoot it here in LA?
That's the cool part. It's the whole plan, like the Hawaii movie, was to be home, to be like, and as much as I love Vancouver, it's great, but to be home and being on the beach every day was really cool. But what's interesting is that after our 4 weeks on the beach, I never wanted to go to the beach again. I'm like, I hate this place. And my kids are like, Dad, you want to go to the beach? I'm like, I hate the beach. I'm like, going back there, I've got a cramp from walking in sand all day. Whatever, Aaliyah. Gosh, you children. So now it's sad. It's ruined the beach for me, which is, what would happen if you're like, I want to shoot in an ice cream store. It'd be yummy all the time. And you're like, I hate ice cream.
Hey, let's do a podcast.
Yeah.
I hate this podcast. I hate the podcast so much. Jace is fun.
Yeah. Maybe Jace could
Did you
do
get sick of
this.
Hawaii at all? Did that happen?
No, I didn't get sick of it. We were
No.
God,
That's
we
good.
gotta go back.
We do. Maybe we could do a podcast.
Yeah, we just pretend. Let's just go back, pretend we're doing something.
Oh, that's a great idea.
Julianne, my wife, we have to go to Hawaii. Sarah wants to go.
We have to scout for a podcast. We're looking for a white desk.
It's 2 weeks. I need the white desk on the beach.
Isn't the podcast audio? It doesn't matter.
No,
it
that's
doesn't
his
matter.
daughter's name.
We're gonna need 2.5 weeks.
So wait, so you're
See you in 3 weeks.
What is the name?
No,
of
you're.
it?
Well, that's the question, right? It was called Riptide because the hero's name is Tyler, so it's Riptide spelled with a Y. And then Netflix bought another show called Riptide that had been made and was going. So they said you have to change the
There's
name.
another show called Riptide.
There's about 1 million of them actually.
Wow.
No, and it
We
wasn't.
were gonna call Speech Bubble Riptide.
Dang.
Oh, come on,
When
really?
we went to Netflix and they were like, we got two shows. Come on, man.
But you got to make it. Then we're gonna fund it anyway.
Jace Tide.
Jace Tide.
Wait, that
Oh, yeah.
just
Rip Jace.
might work.
Have you called it what? Maybe Sons of the Beach?
No.
Son of the Beach?
That's the show that actually Scott McAvoy worked on. Howard Stern, Son of the Beach. Yeah, and so he had he knew a lot of stuff about shooting the stuff there, which was great. But so now it's called Malibu Rescue, which is because we can't do junior lifeguard.
Is it a comedy?
Yes, it's sort of like Police Academy.
Malibu Rescue's not funny.
It's
it's
not.
not bad.
It's not. But if you think of it like Police Academy, it's sort of like a macho,
Got it.
Malibu Rescue with an exclamation point.
And how old are the kids?
They're about 15 to 17.
And this process went from what year did you start this now? Here, it's 2018. Was this 4 or 5
Yeah,
years
it was
ago?
2016 start.
Yeah.
Just finished it. It's been an
No, as
everyday
far as
thing.
when you were pitching it. When did you start pitching it? What year was that?
2015 probably.
Oh, yeah, thanks for calling.
Yeah.
It's fine.
No,
It's
again,
fine.
you
No,
were busy. No, I think you were busy with something.
I'm sure I was.
Maybe you were busy. I think we were doing Fairly Odd. I think it started around Fairly Odd time,
It
possibly.
might have been.
Yeah.
We started that in 2010.
Oh, come on. Are you serious?
I swear to God, it was 2010.
Wow. Okay, then never mind. I'm
what it
lying.
was.
I'm lying, as I
It's
tend to
fine,
do.
it's okay.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Butch.
Okay, do you remember you were on the podcast?
Yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but
Savage, wake up! Savage, wake up! Oh, my God.
sometimes, I do
Well, I'm
sometimes
excited.
worry.
When can we see this on Netflix?
Again, it's one of those things where it's probably going to be in January. Do you know that they put everything into like 128 languages? Like everything has to be finished, and then take 6 months to put into like every language on
it.
It's the
Earth.
same as Speech Bubble, right? We have
Right.
Well, yeah, 128 languages. Yes, exactly.
This will be in like theaters in about a half an hour.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
We've spoken like 12 in this podcast.
Yeah.
So that's coming out in January.
Yeah.
Malibu Rescue. We can call it that for now.
Yeah, I think for now.
Exactly.
Because I just saw that then we saw a thing in the paper. That's an old,
Now, what is
old
that?
person.
23 Skidoo.
Okay, so I've heard of paper, I've heard of video store. Both of these do not compute with
Oh,
my brain.
Paper
gosh.
is an ancient device that old people
Yeah.
used to put their dogs.
Yeah.
Put their dogs with.
I got it. Okay.
Let's-
I can relate.
I have some good Eisenhower jokes. You know, so sad. Good
There's also
Lord.
stuff in the interweb, right? The interweb, yep.
Interweb. Anyway, in a paper-like thing that was called the web, that it was actually in a
Yes,
computer
by the Xerox-
system.
By the Xerox machine.
Exactly. So anyway, they said that they just bought a show called Northern Rescue about some
come on.
search and rescue people. So I don't know what's going to happen with the title. But anyway, it's really cute, and it stars a couple of Ricardo. Arturo, I think.
Ricardo Arturo. That's
Do you
the
know
guy's
him?
name?
He's in School of Rock.
Oh, yeah.
And he's great. And,
cool.
He had the series of
Brie,
School of
and
Rock?
yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
they
series.
finished
On
that,
Nickelodeon.
and we scooped them up. It's actually Brianna Edie, YDE is her name, and she's so great, and she's been in most of our Nickelodeon live-action movies. We just love her, so she's part of the gang. You know, she's sort of like the old Saturday Night gang. You know,
Very nice.
I was just reading about Harold Ramis's his daughter wrote an autobiography, and it was really great how
Harold Ramis's
how
the
much.
great Ghostbusters
Yeah.
actor. And,
Yeah.
I know that.
Co-writer.
Yeah,
I got
it was
also directed
Ghostbusters.
Caddyshack.
Yes, he did quite, and
Yeah.
it's really neat. And she just loved him so much, but it made me cry at the end. But when you think about the gangs of people that, like, you know, at Chevy or whatever, you know, Bill Murray, that they all just kind of grew up together and were really funny together. And it's sort of like when you have someone, like even little Nickelodeon cast people that have kind of gone into different movies, but they're all hanging out and they all know each other's funny parts. You know, it's really cool. It's nice to have a little group like us. You know, it's
There you
nice to
go,
hang out
see?
with us.
Am I
And
included in
Jace,
that?
no, Jace, not at all.
No, not at all.
But maybe at the end of this.
I
It's
figured.
fun, and all
It's
the-
my
all the people
audition.
over here, all who have no idea
They
who
are
you are,
great.
they're
I know,
so
I
great
love
people.
it, but-
I know.
This
But
is
if you
actually my
find-
audition for the TV show.
You're
I
on-
look
you're
15,
in.
right?
You're
Can I
in.
be in it? Okay.
You'd be a
So
great
I
lifeguard.
can't wait. I can't wait to see. So you're shooting the 8 episodes. And that's pretty much your life for now. You're doing more Nickelodeon stuff at the moment.
No, we have to. We're working with these other showrunners, and so we have to get these scripts together and stuff. So I'm really working with Scott again.
Say hi to
Mackey.
Scott for me.
I will. He's just great, and so
One of my favorite people.
yeah, we're trying to come up with some other animated stuff to have on the side and stuff like that. But this is kind of overwhelming. I didn't know it was going to be quite this big a deal. You know, it's a lot of responsibility to
Welcome to
make
Hollywood,
shows. Yeah, I know.
Welcome
I
to
just
Hollywood,
realized that,
kid. Welcome.
and I didn't lie my way into this. So
You also
I'm
did, real
confused.
quick, I want to say, animation-wise, you did Eek the Cat.
Yes, thank you for noticing
Eek the
that.
Cat.
Yeah.
I asked you last night. What was that cartoon you did again? Oh, Eek the Cat.
Yes,
I knew
it was
Eek
Eek.
the
You
Cat.
weren't even born. It was like a
No.
long time ago. But again, it was the Fox networks that then came up with a kids network. So I happened to be there. I had a cat named Eek, and I took him to a hotel I took him everywhere with me, and I took him to a hotel in Vancouver. I was shooting Beans
This
Baxter.
is an
up there.
actual cat.
Yeah, and he was
thought you were
really,
talking about the cartoon.
he was really cute, and he was a little fat guy. And I put him on the windowsill of this hotel I was in. It was like the 18th floor,
Oh, God.
and a seagull
Oh, no.
flew by, and he's
Oh,
like,
no.
wee, and then it just out, and I just saw this little white thing.
He did not.
Yeah.
No,
Oh,
he
yeah.
dove out the window.
Yeah, he did, looking for a seagull that was just flying right by, and it was so, and then I'm running down the stairs because the elevator's not going to be fast. I'm like, oh, he's just a pancake, and it was like.
So you ran down 18 flights.
Oh yeah. I was like hitting the elevator and it was not coming, and I'm like, I've got to save my cat.
I've never seen you laugh so hard in my life.
Oh, it was
It's
really
Saturn.
sad. Well, I know, because it's like a little window about this, and I couldn't get my head out. I'm like, and it really was just a little poof. And got down there, and he was
I think you should
gone.
end.
Gone.
There we go. That's it. That's it.
Anything else you want to say? Before we
No,
go?
no, that's it. It's the clown, my cat. It just gets worse, and
so
those were the Camelot years.
Oh,
That's
man.
when things were going good.
And
Yeah.
Savage's mom married the clown.
And that's how Savage was
My
born.
dad,
And there you go.
Corky the
Well, we're
clown.
gonna say goodbye. I can't thank you enough for coming in. Another round of applause.
awesome.
Oh
Very
wow!
young.
Thanks.
Yeah,
That is a good way to end then, huh?
Will you come back?
He said
when-
6
was
hours.
great.
Yeah, I know.
That was the most
I thought I was gonna get a
fast-paced
sandwich.
podcast we've had.
I was gonna get.
What the heck? I
When
get
you-
some crappy water.
Hey, that's free water.
there
That's
you
free
go.
water. And someone else drank out of that cup about an hour ago, so don't worry about it. But, dude, thank you. And,
Thank you, Butch.
Will you come back and promote your show when it's finally on?
Oh
Yeah.
gosh,
Awesome.
yeah. I'll bring someone that's entertaining. I'll bring Scott or somebody
Well,
like
Scott's
you
kind
know.
of
Yeah,
but like
yeah.
when we read in the paper that your show's on, when you come and when the paper boy comes by and we got transistor radio out.
I'm like, why does everybody know more than me? It's crazy.
I read the paper every day. Oh my God.
You're killing me.
Well, guys, listen,
All right, Chase, thank you, buddy. I just love having you, Ed McMahon, over here. This is sweet. Oh, another.
guys,
I'm glad to do it. Thank you very
Oh,
much.
Guys, thanks for listening to Speech.
Thank
Bubble.
you.
If anyone can make heads or tails of what we talked about, let us know.
It was so fast-paced. It was great.
It was
Oh,
amazing.
God.
So, guys, thank you so much. And again, we're just gonna get out here and then we'll talk.
Yeah.
Savage
I gotta get on my
Steve Holland.
bike after I do
Thanks,
that
buddy.
topiary.
And next week, the drunk clown. All right, guys, roll the theme music.
Thank you, guys.